I have a question. What would happen if the Chinese central government collapsed tomorrow?
Could China fragment like the Soviet Union did in 1991? Or would it resemble something even more chaotic, like the breakup of Yugoslavia, with ethnic and regional divisions leading to civil war? In this video, we explore the hypothetical scenario of China's fragmentation and how many states might emerge if Beijing loses its grip. China, with its 1.4 billion people, is often seen as a unified juggernaut, a single political and cultural entity controlled from Beijing. But this perception masks a more complex and fragile reality. The vast geography of the country covers deserts, mountains, jungles, and megacities, home to people speaking dozens of languages and adhering to vastly different cultures. But should any of these pillars collapse, say through a financial crisis, leadership coup, or major regional rebellion, the central authority could unravel shockingly fast. Modern China is not unfamiliar with fragmentation. Following the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1911, the country entered a long period of chaos where no central authority could claim total control. Known as the warlord era, this time saw military governors and cliques rule provinces like independent kingdoms, each with its own militia, taxes, and political agendas. This era persisted well into the 1930s, until external threats like Japan's invasion and internal movements like the Communist Revolution finally brought about reunification. This precedent suggests that without a strong central government, China's regions might not just seek autonomy, they could become rival states. While Han Chinese make up over 90% of China's population, the remaining 10%, over 130 million people, are ethnic minorities who live in strategically vital and resource-rich areas. The Chinese government has tried to integrate these groups through assimilation, propaganda, and force, but resentment runs deep in many of these communities. Each of these ethnic regions, Tibet, Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia, Guangxi, has its own language, history, and in some cases, active separatist movements. If the state fails, the desire to reassert lost sovereignty could quickly transform into organized independence movements, leading to the formation of new states rooted in ethnic identity. Xinjiang, China's vast northwest region, is home to the Uyghur Muslim population. For decades, Uyghurs have faced mass surveillance, re-education camps, and religious suppression under Chinese rule. International organizations and Western governments have labeled the Chinese policies in Xinjiang as genocide. If the Chinese central government loses control, Uyghurs are likely to declare an independent state, the Republic of East Turkestan. There is historical precedent for this. A short-lived East Turkestan Republic existed twice, once in the 1930s and again in the 1940s. Given the suffering endured in recent years and widespread diaspora activism, the desire for sovereignty in Xinjiang would be intense and likely supported by foreign governments and Islamic nations. Let's go to Tibet. The Tibetan Plateau, known as the roof of the world, has long been a contested region. Annexed by Mao's China in the 1950s, Tibet has remained under tight political and military control ever since. The exiled Tibetan government, led by the Dalai Lama, still commands symbolic and spiritual legitimacy among many Tibetans. In the event of a governmental collapse in Beijing, Tibet could be one of the first regions to break away, re-establishing a Buddhist-led theocratic state or adopting a more democratic framework. Its high-altitude terrain and historical experience of independence would provide both moral and strategic justification for independence in the eyes of the global community. Inner Mongolia, unlike its independent neighbor to the north, is now predominantly Han Chinese. Though ethnic Mongols remain a cultural force, the demographic shift makes independence less likely compared to Tibet or Xinjiang. Still, in a power vacuum, local leaders might seek greater autonomy or even limited secession, especially if supported by Mongolia or Russia. Conflicts could emerge between Han settlers and indigenous Mongols over the future identity of the region. On the other side, Manchuria stands alone. It is composed of Liaoning, Jilin, and Heilongjiang provinces, has a distinct identity rooted in industrial might and historical occupation by Japan. During the 1930s, Japan established a puppet regime here called Manchukuo, exploiting Manchuria's resources and strategic location. In the post-collapse scenario, Manchuria could form a nationalist or technocratic republic, perhaps leaning towards a Russian-style authoritarian model. Its economic self-sufficiency and strategic location near Russia and North Korea could make it a geopolitical actor in its own right. In China's south, the provinces of Guangdong and Fujian have long maintained unique identities. Guangdong, home to Cantonese-speaking populations and the powerful Pearl River Delta economy, has often seen itself as culturally distinct from northern China. With economic centers like Shenzhen and Guangzhou, Guangdong could easily transform into a high-tech capitalist republic. Given its global economic ties and access to the sea, a Republic of Canton could thrive independently. Fujian, situated directly across from Taiwan, shares linguistic and familial ties with the island. In a weakened China, Fujian might align itself with Taipei, either through confederation or peaceful annexation, especially if Taiwan offers security guarantees. Alternatively, it could proclaim a Fujianese republic, reviving its historical role as a maritime trading hub that operated independently from inland China during various historical periods. Shanghai, the financial heart of China, is already semi-autonomous in spirit. If the central government disintegrates, the city might declare independence and transform into a regional powerhouse, much like Singapore or Hong Kong. Surrounded by economically developed provinces like Jiangsu and Zhejiang, Shanghai could anchor a Yangtze River confederation focused on finance, technology, and trade. These regions have enough population, capital, and infrastructure to form a functioning state almost immediately. Their alignment could be driven more by economic pragmatism than ethnic or ideological differences. Interestingly, Hong Kong and Macau already enjoy limited autonomy under the one country, two systems policy, though Beijing's increasing interference has eroded this model. In a scenario where China fragments, both regions are likely to declare full independence swiftly. Hong Kong may attempt to re-establish its democratic institutions, reinvigorate civil society, and possibly align itself with international democratic coalitions. Macau, with its Portuguese colonial heritage and smaller population, might form a neutral casino-powered microstate akin to Monaco. Both regions have the infrastructure and economic base to function independently from day one. Taiwan, the self-governing island claimed by Beijing, would face a unique set of choices. In a collapsed China, Taiwan could serve as a stabilizer, offering support to breakaway regions, mediating conflicts, or helping reconstruct governance structures. Alternatively, Taiwan might seize the moment to solidify its independence, gain UN recognition, and even expand its influence into coastal provinces like Fujian. How Taiwan acts in this power vacuum would greatly influence regional dynamics and whether East Asia sees prolonged chaos or eventual equilibrium. Central and western provinces like Henan, Hunan, Sichuan, and Shanxi form the cultural heartland of China and are home to hundreds of millions of Han Chinese. These regions are less likely to demand independence, but without a central authority, they could become battlegrounds for competing warlords, former party elites, or military factions. In some scenarios, one of these factions might try to restore a new Chinese central state from these regions, launching a campaign to reunify the country. However, the outcome would depend on resources, military loyalty, and public support. The collapse of China would unleash a geopolitical earthquake. The United States, Russia, India, Japan, and the European Union would all scramble to protect their interests. Russia might support northern regions like Manchuria or Inner Mongolia, while the US could back democratic forces in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Xinjiang. India would monitor Tibet closely, possibly supporting its independence to weaken Beijing's legacy. The South China Sea could become a conflict zone as rival Chinese coastal states and foreign navies rush to claim control over vital trade routes and disputed islands. While this video is speculative, the internal fractures within China are very real. History teaches us that even the most powerful empires can collapse rapidly under the weight of internal contradictions and external pressures. The Chinese Communist Party has built a powerful state, but also one that is tightly intolerant of dissent. If it ever unravels, the resulting fragmentation could reshape the map of Asia in ways we haven't seen in centuries. Let us know what you think. Would China really fragment this way? Which regions would thrive and which might descend into chaos? Comment below, subscribe for more geopolitical analysis, and stay curious.